If you really loved me, you'd let me have one last weekend with him, she said casually over breakfast, like it was a reasonable request. So I let her go and started packing my things without another word. Now she's 2,000 miles away, crying into voice notes. I'll never hear, because I'm gone and she's finally realizing I was the one she should have fought for. This happened about 10 months ago, and I'm still processing it. Figured it was time to share the story because holy heck, what a ride. I 29 male and I run a small freight logistics company with my dad and uncle. We handle shipping coordination for mid-sized businesses. Nothing glamorous, but the money's solid. I was pulling in about $135,000 annually by the time this story starts. Started working in the business at 18, learned everything from the ground up, and bought in as a partner when I turned 26. I'm not college educated, but I'm not stupid either. Own my house outright now, drive a reliable truck, and had about $90,000 saved up. I was thinking about expanding the business, maybe opening a second location. Had my life together, you know? Then I met Chloe. Chloe was 24, absolutely stunning, and made $28,000 as a social media consultant, which meant she helped local businesses figure out Instagram. She lived in a $2,000 studio apartment while drinking $8 designer coffee and posting lifestyle content that suggested she was living way above her means. We met at a networking event. The moment I mentioned running my own logistics business, her eyes lit up like a slot machine hitting jackpot. I love an entrepreneur, she purred. Should have run right there. The first few months were incredible. Spontaneous dinner dates, concerts, weekend trips, except she never had money for any of it. I'm just tight this week, became her signature line. So I paid, because that's what boyfriends do, right? Then came the emergencies. Car tires, $800. Laptop died, $1,200. AC broke, $400. Every month brought some crisis requiring my immediate financial intervention. I was basically her personal GoFundMe campaign. She moved in after 10 months. Not because we discussed it, but because she couldn't find anything affordable. Makes sense when you're trying to rent a $2,000 studio on $28,000 income. We can really build something together, she said. Build something. Yeah, she built herself a completely free lifestyle. Suddenly my house wasn't good enough. Kitchen needed updating. Bathroom needed renovations. New furniture because hers didn't match the space. Every conversation became about what we needed to fix, where we meant I write the checks. I spent 18 grand renovating that kitchen myself, working weekends after 12-hour days. She picked all the expensive finishes naturally. You're so good to me, baby, she'd coo while I installed fixtures at 9 p.m. Then came her business expansion. She needed 9 grand for a digital marketing agency, professional website, equipment, a car for client meetings. Think of it as an investment in our future. Her agency, managing Instagram for a nail salon and gym, made maybe $600 a month. But she looked professional posting photos of herself working at trendy coffee shops with her MacBook. Here's the kicker. She never posted about me. Not once. Her Instagram looked like she was single. When I asked, she had excuses ready. I keep my personal life private. Posting couple stuff limits your personal brand. Meanwhile, her ex Ryan liked every single photo. Every single one. When I mentioned it, "You're so insecure, Adam." Insecure became her favorite word for any concern I raised. Insecure about her texting late at night. Insecure about her $400 monthly work clothes budget. Insecure about wondering why her ex was so invested in her social media. Maybe you should work on yourself instead of worrying about what other people are doing. So I worked myself to death. 60-hour weeks, bigger clients, every opportunity that came my way. Because she had big dreams, and dreams cost money. By year 2, I'd spent over $42,000 in 18 months, not counting free rent, utilities, and groceries. I was exhausted, financially drained, and finally realizing that no matter how much I gave, it was never enough. But I loved her. Or at least, I loved the version of her that existed when she wanted something from me. Things really started getting strange around month 20. Chloe's phone habits changed completely. She used to leave it lying around, didn't care if I saw her messages or whatever. Suddenly, it was always face down, always on silent, always within arm's reach. Late-night bathroom trips became phone trips. She'd get up at 11 p.m. to use the bathroom, and I'd hear her phone buzzing in there. When she came back, she'd be more awake, kind of energized. "Everything okay?" I'd ask. "Yeah, just couldn't sleep. You know how my brain gets..." But her brain wasn't keeping her up. Someone else was. The first time I saw Ryan's name on her screen was by accident. Her phone was charging on the kitchen counter and lit up with a text while I was making coffee. Just saw his name and can't wait to, before it went dark again. My stomach dropped, but I didn't say anything. Didn't want to be that guy who checks his girlfriend's phone. Didn't want to be insecure, but I started paying attention. And once you start looking, you see everything. She'd get texts and immediately flip her phone over. She'd take calls in the other room because the reception was better. She started going out more networking events and client meetings that always seemed to run late. The Instagram likes from Ryan turned into comments. Then the comments got more personal. You always knew how to light up a room. Some things never change. Beautiful. Miss our late night conversations. When I finally brought it up, she went ballistic. Are you serious right now? You're monitoring my social media like some controlling boyfriend? I'm not monitoring anything, Chloe. The guy comments on every single photo you post. So what? People comment on photos, Adam. That's how Instagram works. People, sure. But this is your ex-boyfriend telling you he misses your late-night conversations. We're friends. Adult people can be friends with their exes. Maybe you'd understand that if you weren't so emotionally immature. Emotionally immature. There it was again, another way of making me the problem. Fine, I said. You're right, I'm being ridiculous. But I wasn't being ridiculous. My instincts were telling me something was wrong, and my instincts were correct. 2 weeks later, she announced she was going to a digital marketing conference in Denver for the weekend. Solo, for her business that made $600 a month. It's really important for networking, she said. I've already paid for everything. Paid for everything. With what money? Her business barely covered her gym membership. I didn't say anything, just nodded and told her to have a good time. But I checked the conference website that night. Registration was $1,400. Hotel was another $500. Flights, food, everything else she was talking about, a $2,500 weekend for a business that had never turned a profit. That's when I started putting things together. Her sudden interest in investing in her business. The secretive phone calls. Ryan's increasingly bold comments. The conference that made no financial sense. She left Friday morning, kissed me goodbye, told me she loved me, said she'd call when she landed. She didn't call. Her Instagram stories started around noon airport selfie, airplane window, off to chase my dreams caption, then nothing for hours. Saturday morning, I checked again. One story. A photo of room service on an expensive hotel tray. Luxury hotel. Room service that cost more than most people spend on groceries in a week. But here's the thing about social media. People always forget about location tags. The hotel wasn't in Denver. It was in Austin. Ryan lived in Austin. I sat there staring at my phone, trying to figure out if I was losing my mind or if my girlfriend had just lied to my face about where she was going for the weekend. Called her phone. Straight to voicemail. Texted her. No response for 6 hours then. So busy with conference stuff. Miss you, babe. Conference stuff. In Austin. At Ryan's hotel. I didn't sleep that night. Just laid in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about every dollar I'd spent on her, every time I'd worked late to pay for her dreams, every time she'd made me feel like I was being paranoid for noticing obvious red flags. She came back Sunday night all smiles and stories about the conference. How inspiring it was. How many connections she'd made. How it was going to transform her business. Did you learn anything useful? I asked. Oh, tons. The speaker on influencer marketing was incredible. And I met this woman who runs a huge agency in Denver. She might have some contract work for me. She had an answer for everything. Professional, excited, convincing. If I hadn't seen the location tag, I might have believed her. But I had seen it. And now I knew exactly what kind of person I was living with. After the Austin trip, Chloe became a different person. Not worse, actually better. More attentive, more affectionate, more present in our relationship than she'd been in months. She started cooking dinner again, asking about my work, actually listening when I talked about projects I was handling. She'd bring me coffee in the morning, give me these long kisses goodbye, text me sweet messages during the day. The intimacy improved dramatically, too. More frequent, more enthusiastic. She'd initiate, which hadn't happened in forever. She bought new lingerie, started working out more, seemed genuinely happy. I thought whatever had happened in Austin, whether it was closure with Ryan or just some kind of wake-up call about what she had with me had worked. She seemed more committed to us than ever. I love you so much, baby, she'd say, while we were lying in bed afterward. You're everything I've ever wanted. Everything she'd ever wanted. It felt good to hear that. Made me think I'd been overthinking the whole Ryan situation. For about 6 weeks, things were perfect. Better than they'd ever been, actually. We talked about the future more. She brought up children for the first time, said she could see us having a family someday. We looked at bigger houses online, talked about what kind of wedding we'd want. I started looking at rings. Not seriously, just browsing online, getting a sense of what she might like. She was always talking about her friend Emma's engagement ring, how classic and elegant it was. I screenshotted some similar styles, started thinking about how I'd propose. That's when she started bringing up Ryan again. Casual mentions at first. Ryan started his own company, did I tell you that? Funny story Ryan told me. Ryan said the most interesting thing today. When I asked how she knew what Ryan was doing, she'd roll her eyes. We follow each other on social media, Adam. Sometimes people share updates about their lives. But it wasn't just social media updates. She knew too many details. What he was working on, who he was dating, what he thought about current events. You don't get that level of information from Instagram posts. Are you guys texting? I asked one night. Sometimes. Is that a problem? The way she said it challenging, like I was being unreasonable for asking, made me back down. No, it's fine. I was just curious. Good, because I'm not doing anything wrong. We're just friends catching up. Friends catching up. About what? Their relationship had ended 3 years ago when he moved to Austin for work. What was there to catch up about? But every time I tried to dig deeper, she'd flip it back on me. I was being controlling. I was being insecure. I was being paranoid. Do you trust me or not? She'd ask. And what was I supposed to say to that? No, I don't trust you because you lied about going to Denver and spent the weekend in your ex's city instead? So I said yes. I trusted her, even though my gut was screaming that something was wrong. Then came the comments about closure. I think it's so healthy when people can be friends with their exes, she'd say out of nowhere. It shows emotional maturity. Ryan and I have such a good friendship now. It's nice to have that closure, you know? Some people never get proper closure from their past relationships. I think that's why they struggle to fully commit to new ones. Closure. That word kept coming up, and every time she said it, something in my chest got tight. But I ignored it, because things were good between us. Because she was talking about our future. Because I'd already bought the ring. Yeah, I actually bought it. $8,500 for a 2-carat diamond solitaire, exactly like Emma's. Had it sitting in my sock drawer for 2 weeks, trying to figure out the perfect way to propose. I was thinking maybe a weekend trip somewhere nice. She'd always wanted to go to Napa Valley. Said it looked so romantic in movies. I could book us a nice hotel, take her to dinner at one of those fancy restaurants, pop the question under the stars. That was my plan. Take my girlfriend of 2 years to wine country, ask her to marry me, start planning our life together. Instead, she sat across from me at breakfast on a Tuesday morning and asked for permission to be with her ex-boyfriend. Tuesday morning, April 15th. I remember the date because it was tax day, and I'd been up late the night before finishing paperwork for the business. Chloe was already up when I came downstairs, making breakfast in one of my old t-shirts, humming some song I didn't recognize. She looked beautiful, hair messy, face fresh, moving around my kitchen like she belonged there. And I guess she did belong there. She'd been living in my house for over a year, sleeping in my bed, eating food I paid for. Morning, baby, she said, kissing my cheek as I sat down. I made your favorite. Scrambled eggs with cheese, turkey sausage, toast. Nothing fancy, but she knew I liked a substantial breakfast before work. She set the plate in front of me with this sweet smile, then sat across from me with her own plate. So, she said, taking a bite, I've been thinking about something. Yeah? What's that? She chewed slowly, like she was choosing her words carefully. You know how Ryan and I have been talking more lately? My stomach dropped, but I kept my face neutral. Yeah. Well, he's been going through some stuff. His dad's sick, work's been stressful, and I think he's been feeling pretty lost. He reached out because he's been thinking about our relationship and how it ended. I set my fork down. Okay. He said he has a lot of regrets about how things went between us. Like, we never really got proper closure, you know? We just ended. And now he's realizing how much that's affected his other relationships. Where was this going? He asked if I'd be open to spending some time with him, just to talk, to work through some of the unresolved stuff between us. For closure. What kind of time? I asked, even though I already knew I didn't want to hear the answer. She took another bite, casual as anything. A weekend, maybe. He could come here, or I could go to Austin. Whatever feels right. I stared at her. A weekend. Yeah, I know it might sound strange, but I really think it would be good for both of us. We need to close that chapter properly, so we can both move forward. Move forward. Exactly. Like, I love you, Adam. You know that, right? But there's still this small part of me that wonders, what if with Ryan? And I think until I work through that, I can't be fully present in our relationship. She reached across the table and took my hand. If you really love me, you'll understand that this is something I need to do. For us, if you really love me. Those 6 words hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. Let me get this straight, I said slowly. You want to spend a weekend with your ex-boyfriend. For closure. And if I love you, I'll be okay with that. When you put it like that, it sounds bad. But that's not what this is, Adam. This isn't about cheating or being with him. It's about healing. It's about becoming the person I need to be for our relationship. And you need to spend a weekend with him to do that. Yes. I sat there looking at her, this woman I'd been planning to propose to, asking for my permission to spend a weekend with another man, and somehow making it sound like it was for my benefit. Would you be sleeping with him? She had the audacity to look offended. Adam, come on. That's not what this is about. That's not an answer. I can't predict every detail of what might happen, but the goal isn't physical intimacy. The goal is emotional resolution. Can't predict every detail. Emotional resolution. The ring in my sock drawer suddenly felt like the stupidest purchase I'd ever made. So you might sleep with him. I might cry, I might yell at him, I might hug him goodbye. I don't know what's going to happen, because I've never done anything like this before. But whatever happens, it'll be honest and open, and when it's over, I'll be free to love you completely. Free to love me completely. Like she wasn't free before. Like I was the one holding her back from full commitment. This is insane, Chloe. No, it's mature. Most people are too scared to confront their past, so they just drag it into every new relationship. I'm trying to break that cycle. She squeezed my hand. I need you to trust me on this. Can you do that? Trust her. The woman who'd lied about going to Denver. The woman who'd been texting her ex for months. The woman who was now asking for permission to cheat and calling it personal growth. I need to think about it, I said. Of course. Take all the time you need. But Adam? She smiled at me, sweet as pie. This is really important to me. Like, relationship defining important. Relationship defining. As in, if I said no, the relationship was over. I got up from the table, grabbed my keys, and left for work. She called after me. Have a good day, baby. Love you. Love you. Right after asking to spend a weekend with her ex. I sat in my truck for 10 minutes before I could even start the engine, trying to process what had just happened, trying to figure out if I was crazy or if the woman I'd been about to propose to had just given me an ultimatum disguised as a request for understanding. By the time I got to the office, I knew exactly what kind of person I'd been living with for 2 years, and I knew exactly what I had to do about it. I didn't go home that night. Told Chloe I was having dinner with my business partner, which was true, but didn't mention that the dinner was at my buddy Tony's house while I told him the whole story. Tony's been my best friend since high school. He's married, 2 kids, and has 0 patience for nonsense. When I finished explaining the breakfast conversation, he just shook his head. Bro, she's been cheating on you for months. I don't know that for sure. The Austin trip? The secret texts? Now she wants permission to be with him for a weekend? Wake up, man. She's been playing you this whole time. Deep down, I knew he was right. But hearing someone else say it out loud made it real in a way I wasn't ready for. Even if she hasn't physically cheated yet, Tony continued, she's asking you to let her do it now. And she's making it sound like you're the jerk if you say no. She says it's for closure. Closure my rear end. You know what closure is? Breaking up and never talking to the person again. You don't get closure by being with your ex while your current boyfriend pays your bills. That hit different. All those bills I'd paid, all those investments in her future, all those times I'd worked overtime so she could chase her dreams. And this was how she wanted to repay me. What should I do? Leave her, Tony said without hesitation. Tonight, pack your stuff and get out. It's my house. Then kick her out. Change the locks. Whatever. Just end this before she makes it worse. But I didn't want to just end it. I wanted her to face consequences for what she'd done, for the lying, the manipulation, the financial abuse, for asking me to bankroll her cheating and calling it personal growth. I wanted her to understand exactly what she was throwing away. That's when the plan started forming. I went home around 10 p.m. Chloe was already in bed, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when I came in, gave me this hopeful smile. How was your evening? Did you think about what we talked about? Yeah, I said, sitting on the edge of the bed. I did. And Mats? I looked at her, this beautiful woman who'd been taking advantage of me for 2 years, and smiled. You're right. If I really love you, I should trust you to handle this like an adult. Her whole face lit up. Really? Really? When were you thinking of doing this? Ryan said he could come here this weekend, or I could fly to Austin. Whatever you're more comfortable with. Austin, I said. Definitely Austin. I think it would be better for you to be on neutral ground. She practically bounced with excitement. Are you sure? I know this is hard for you. It is hard, but I want you to be happy. And if this is what you need to be fully committed to us, then I support it. She threw her arms around me, covered my face in kisses. I love you so much, Adam. You're amazing. You're perfect. I'm so lucky to have someone who understands me like this. Perfect. Right. Over the next 3 days, I helped her plan the trip. Looked at flights with her, helped her pick a hotel, even gave her $900 for the weekend expenses. She was like a kid on Christmas morning, so excited and grateful. I can't believe how mature you're being about this, she kept saying. Most guys would freak out, but you get it. You understand that this is actually going to make us stronger. Stronger. Sure. While she was planning her romantic getaway with Ryan, I was making plans of my own. First, I called my lawyer, family friend who'd helped with some business stuff before. Explained the situation girlfriend living in my house, no lease agreement, how to get her out legally. Easy, he said. Give her 30 days written notice to vacate. After that, she's trespassing. Next, I went to the bank, closed our joint account, opened a new one in just my name. There was about $14,000 in their money I'd put in for our future. She'd never contributed a dime. Then I started documenting everything. Screenshots of her Instagram, copies of all the bills I'd paid for her, photos of the ring I'd bought. Built a whole file of evidence showing exactly how much this relationship had cost me. But the real genius was what I did with her business. See, her digital marketing agency was registered as an LLC, with me as the financial backer. I'd invested that $9,000 to get it started, plus another $4,000 over the months for equipment and software. Legally, I owned 70% of a company that existed mostly on paper. I called my accountant. What happens if I dissolve the LLC? As majority owner, you can dissolve at any time. Just file the paperwork. And her business contracts? Void. The company no longer exists. Perfect. Friday morning, Chloe left for Austin. I drove her to the airport, kissed her goodbye, told her I loved her, and hoped she got the closure she needed. I'll text you when I land, she said. And Adam, thank you. For understanding, for supporting me, for being the most incredible boyfriend in the world. Incredible. That's me. The minute her plane took off, I got to work. Filed the dissolution paperwork for her LLC. Canceled the business credit card I'd been paying for. Canceled the web hosting, the software subscriptions, everything. Her entire digital marketing agency ceased to exist by noon. Then I served the 30-day notice to vacate. Had a process server deliver it to her at the airport hotel in Austin, along with copies of all the bills she owed me. $51,000 total, including the business investment plus interest. But I wasn't done. See, Chloe had been telling everyone we were taking a break so she could work on herself. Her friends, her family, even her clients thought I was being supportive of her journey of self-discovery. Time to set the record straight. I posted one thing on social media, a screenshot of her text from that morning. Getting ready for my closure weekend with Ryan. Thank you for being so understanding, baby. I love you so much. Then I added, for anyone wondering why Chloe and I aren't together anymore, this is her asking permission to cheat, while I paid her bills for 2 years. Have a great weekend, you two. Posted it everywhere. Facebook, Instagram. Even sent it to her parents. Then I turned off my phone and went fishing. By the time she saw what I'd done, it was too late to stop it. I kept my phone off the entire weekend. Went fishing with Tony, worked on some projects around the house, enjoyed the first quiet weekend I'd had in months. No girlfriend asking for money, no Ryan drama, no walking on eggshells around someone else's emotional needs. It was peaceful. Monday morning, I turned my phone back on. 43 missed calls from Chloe, 21 voicemails, 87 text messages. The progression was beautiful to watch. Friday evening. Adam, what the heck is this process server doing here? Why am I getting served papers at my hotel? Call me back right now. Saturday morning. Are you serious right now? You're kicking me out while I'm trying to work on our relationship? This is so messed up. I can't believe you do this to me. Ryan says you're being manipulative and controlling. Oh, Ryan had opinions now? Interesting. Saturday afternoon. Did you really post our private business on social media like some crazy ex? My mom is calling me crying, asking what's wrong with you. Everyone thinks I'm a terrible person because of your ridiculous post. Saturday night. My business website is down. What did you do? The credit card isn't working. Adam, I need you to call me right now. Something's wrong with all my accounts. Sunday. You destroyed my business while I was gone. This is illegal. I'm going to sue you. I trusted you, and you completely screwed me over. Sunday night. Please call me back. We need to talk about this. I know you're angry, but this is insane. I never cheated on you. I don't know why you're doing this. Never cheated. Right. The voicemails were even better. Started angry, turned desperate, ended with her sobbing. But the real entertainment was social media. My post had blown up. 294 comments, 73 shares. Her friends, my friends. People we both knew, everyone saw it. And the responses were not in her favor. Wow, Chloe, this is really messed up. Poor Adam. I can't believe she did this to him. She was using him for money the whole time. Good for you, man. You deserve better. A few people tried to defend her, mostly her girlfriends who probably didn't know the whole story. But when people started sharing details about all the money I'd spent on her, even they went quiet. Her own Instagram comments turned toxic, people calling her a gold digger, a cheater, a user. She turned comments off, then made her account private, then deleted half her photos. But the damage was done. Screenshots live forever. Tuesday morning, she finally made it home. I was at work when she got there, but I'd had the locks changed Sunday night. She couldn't get in. Apparently, she sat on the porch crying for an hour before calling a locksmith. When the locksmith called me to verify she lived there, I told him she'd been served eviction papers and was no longer a resident. She called me 15 times that day. I answered the last one. Adam, please, we need to talk. No, we don't. You can't just destroy my entire life because you're mad at me. I didn't destroy anything, Chloe. I just stopped paying for it. That business was mine. That business was 70% mine, according to the LLC paperwork you signed. I dissolved my own company. Perfectly legal. Where am I supposed to go? All my stuff is in there. 30 days, like the notice says. After that, it goes to storage, and you get charged for it. This is crazy, Adam. I never even slept with him. I don't care what you did or didn't do. You asked for permission to cheat, and I gave you permission to leave. That's not what I asked for. That's exactly what you asked for. And now you can ask Ryan to help you figure out your housing situation. I hung up. She tried everything over the next few weeks. Showed up at my office, my assistant had security escort her out. Sent her friends to talk to me, I told them the whole story. Even had her mom call me, crying about how I was ruining her daughter's life. She made her choices, I told her mom. I'm just done paying for them. The best part? Ryan ghosted her the minute things got complicated. Apparently spending a weekend with her was one thing, but dealing with the fallout of her life imploding was another. Her closure weekend ended with him dropping her at the airport Sunday night and blocking her on everything. So she got her closure. Just not the kind she was expecting. 3 weeks after the eviction notice, she was still trying to negotiate. Offered to pay me back with what money? Promised to end all contact with Ryan too late, begged for another chance not happening. That's when she played her last card. And that's when I played mine. A month after I kicked her out, Chloe was living in her friend Emma's spare room and working retail at Target. Her digital marketing agency was gone. Her social media reputation was destroyed. And apparently Ryan had blocked her on everything after their weekend of closure went sideways. She'd been trying to rebuild, posting inspirational quotes about rising from adversity and learning from mistakes. But every post got comments from people who'd seen my screenshots. Her follower count dropped from 8,000 to about 400. Then her world got significantly worse. See, when I dissolved her LLC, it didn't just cancel her business. It also triggered an audit. The IRS started looking into her finances, specifically the $13,000 in business expenses she'd claimed while making almost no revenue. Turns out when you write off a MacBook, professional wardrobe, and trendy coffee shop meetings as business expenses for a company that made $600 a month, they have questions. She owed $3,400 in back taxes, plus penalties. But the real kicker came when Emma got engaged. Emma's engagement party was at some upscale venue downtown. Big crowd, elegant setup, the works. I knew about it because my buddy Tony was dating one of Emma's friends, and he'd been invited. Want to come? Tony asked. Might be entertaining. I almost said no. I was done with Chloe, moving on with my life. But curiosity got the better of me. The party was exactly what you'd expect: Instagram-worthy decorations, beautiful people, everyone dressed to impress. I stayed in the back, nursing a soda and watching. Chloe looked rough, still pretty, but tired. Wearing a dress I'd bought her months ago, trying to smile and be social, but you could tell she was struggling. She was there alone, working as Emma's unofficial party coordinator, since she couldn't afford to contribute to the gift. I watched her for about an hour, taking photos, refilling drinks, basically being the unpaid help at her friend's engagement party. It was sad, honestly. Then Emma made her announcement. Before we party too hard tonight, I have some amazing news to share. My company just landed the biggest client in our history, a 260,000 contract for a complete digital marketing overhaul. Everyone cheered. Emma's marketing firm had been growing steadily, and this was huge for them. And, Emma continued, we're hiring. We need someone with social media experience to help manage the account. Full-time position, great benefits, starting at 70,000. I saw Chloe's face light up. This was perfect for her good money. Using her skills, working for a friend, she probably thought her luck was finally turning around. The only requirement, Emma said, is that we need someone with a clean professional reputation. This client specifically asked for background checks and social media audits on all team members. The room went quiet for a second. Then the conversations resumed, but I kept watching Chloe. Her face had gone white. She knew. Everyone knew. After the party, I was walking to my truck when I heard someone calling my name. Turned around to see Chloe hurrying after me in heels, looking desperate. Adam, wait. Please. I stopped. What do you want, Chloe? I need to ask you for a favor. I almost laughed. You're kidding. Emma's offering me a job. A real job. With good money and benefits. But they're doing background checks. And? That post you made, it comes up when people search my name, along with all the comments and shares. It's ruining my reputation. Your reputation? I know you're angry, and I deserve that. But I need to work, Adam. I need to rebuild my life. Can you please delete the post? I looked at her, this woman who'd spent 2 years using me for money, who'd asked permission to cheat and called it personal growth, who destroyed our relationship and somehow made it my fault. Why would I do that? Because I'm asking you to. Because despite everything, what we had was real. Because you're a good person who doesn't want to see me fail. A good person. I shook my head. Like when I was a good person paying your bills while you texted your ex? Or when I was a good person giving you money for a weekend with another man? Adam, please, I'll do anything. Anything? Yes. Whatever you want. I'll pay you back every penny. I'll admit I was wrong. I'll do whatever it takes. I pretended to think about it. Let her hop build up. Here's what I want, I said finally. I want you to post a public apology on all your social media, admitting that you used me financially for 2 years, that you lied about your Austin trip, that you asked permission to cheat and called it closure. I want you to admit that everything I said was true. She stared at me. I can't do that. Then I can't help you. That would destroy what's left of my reputation. Your reputation was destroyed the minute you thought it was okay to ask your boyfriend for permission to be with your ex. I just made sure people knew about it. I started walking toward my truck. Adam, wait! What if I paid you back first, before I ask you to delete anything? I turned around. You owe me $51,000. You work at Target making $13 an hour. How exactly are you going to pay me back? I'll figure it out. Set up a payment plan, get a second job, whatever it takes. At $13 an hour, working full-time, it would take you about 2.5 years to pay me back, assuming you had no other expenses. The math hit her like a slap. She'd never thought about the actual numbers before. But here's the thing, Chloe. I don't want your money anymore. You know what I want? She shook her head. I want you to understand what you threw away. I want you to know that while you were chasing closure with your ex, you destroyed a relationship with someone who would have given you everything. I want you to live with the fact that your greed and selfishness cost you the only person who actually cared about you. Tears started running down her face. I was going to propose to you, I continued. Rings in my sock drawer. Cost me $8,500. But then you asked for permission to cheat, and I realized I'd been dating a stranger for 2 years. Adam, you want to rebuild your life? Do it yourself. The same way I'm rebuilding mine. Without you. I got in my truck and drove away, leaving her standing in the parking lot in her heels and borrowed dress. 3 days later, Emma withdrew the job offer. Emma withdrew. Apparently, the background check had revealed some concerns about Chloe's professional judgment. Chloe sent me one final text. I hope someday you can forgive me. I never responded. Last I heard, she moved back in with her parents in Ohio, working at a call center, trying to save money to get back on her feet.